take a look at where things stand at this hour. You were just getting the update on the ground in Georgia, where a recount may be needed. It is so close there, razor-thin margins. You heard from the Secretary of State saying a moment ago, too close to call. There would be a recount, huge implications for the entire country. And you look at the differential right now at this hour, 1,098 votes. Kristen Soltis Anderson, pollster and Fox News contributor. Kristen, I know you were listening to every word of what came out of that press conference just now. I know you have been focusing on these blue counties around Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia area. Some of these, Clayton County made a big difference overnight, put Joe Biden's vote total over the top, putting him in the lead in that state. We're also watching Henry County, Newton County, all these surrounding areas, but specifically Gwinnett County. You just heard the Secretary of State referencing that county a few moments ago. They had technical problems, a software glitch. It led to a recount of the votes there, and then they got to the absentee votes. So we're awaiting a vote total from there. That too could make a difference. Good morning to you, Kristen.
Good morning. As I'm looking at somewhere like Gwinnett County, I've got three questions I'm asking. The first is how many ballots are still left? The second is where are they coming from within that county? And if we can know that. And then third, what type of ballot are we talking about? So in this case, in Georgia, you have just under 4,000 votes from Gwinnett County, which is the sort of place where Democrats have really made inroads in recent years. It's a county that I believe went for Hillary Clinton by only about 6 points. But this time around, Biden seems to have widened his lead there. So more ballots from Gwinnett County ought to be good news for Biden. However, there was another big number in that press conference, and that was the 8,000 outstanding military ballots in Georgia. Those ballots might be much redder, much more pro-Trump than what you would see from just one single county like Gwinnett County. Now, not all 8,000 of those ballots might be returned. They might not all get back in by tonight, but those are the two big numbers. Less than 4,000 in Gwinnett, 8,000 military ballots coming in. That's going to be the big things that I'll be watching in the next 24 hours.
I just brought up Cobb County as well, northwest of Fulton County, Atlanta, Georgia, where the vote total right now has Biden in the lead 56.3%. 56,000 makes the vote total difference there. He said there's 75,000 ballots still outstanding. So all of these counties will be a focus. Take us into Pennsylvania now. We're at the top of the 9 a.m. hour. It was declared that Joe Biden was leading President Trump with votes in that state. Here's the differential now, 6,826 votes in Joe Biden's favor. What are you watching here? Obviously, pointing out that Philadelphia County is under close watch with Joe Biden, 81% of the vote there. Allegheny County, another blue county we have been watching, Joe Biden, 59% of the total there. 128,000 is the difference in Allegheny County. Both of those very closely watching. Kristen, what are you watching in Philadelphia?
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, we're dealing with much larger numbers either way in terms of the margin between the candidates as well as the number of votes that are outstanding and the types of places they're coming from. I mean, in a city like Philadelphia, you would expect, not only because it's Philadelphia, because it's the city, it tends to be a very big Democratic stronghold, but because a lot of the ballots we're counting at this stage of the game in Pennsylvania are those mail-in ballots. That's another reason why you're seeing that kind of blue shift later on. We knew going into this election that Pennsylvania would be the kind of state where early on they would count all of those day of votes, and those were likely to lean very heavily for President Trump because he said, look, I want my voters to show up on Election Day. But for Democrats, they had pushed their voters more to vote late or vote, early via mail, those ballots coming in and then being counted on the back end. That's why you're suddenly seeing this swing of many, many, many points. Now, there's a county in Pennsylvania that you should watch, and that's Bucks County. It's right outside of Philadelphia.
Yep. I'm bringing it up on the board.
It's the
Bucks
suburbs
County.
there. It's a county that...
Go ahead, Kristen.
Yeah, it's split very closely between Trump and Clinton in 2016. This time around, Biden seems to have grown his lead there very slightly. Again, it's the exact type of county that Democrats have really tried to make efforts to win over in the last couple of years. If there are still ballots outstanding there, they won't be breaking nearly as heavily for Biden as you might see within Philadelphia County itself. And so depending on which precincts are out within that county and which types of ballots are still out within that county, that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, out of the been almost 400,000 votes counted so far. There's a differential of 14,200. Kristen, you went through election night Tuesday night with us, with Trace and me on the Fox Broadcast Network, and we talked about so many things. And here we are, several days following Election Day. You've got these 4 key battlegrounds that we were watching so closely on election night, where no decision has been made. These races have not been called yet. Obviously, a win in any of those would put Joe Biden over the top, including Nevada, would bring him to an even 270. Donald Trump would have to run the board with these 4 remaining states. Did you see us being here on the Friday morning after Election Day, Kristen?
Well, I always knew it might be possible with Pennsylvania because we knew the vote count would be slower there. I don't think I thought that it would be so many states still in the game at this stage. But what's going to be really interesting is as we unpack things like that Fox News voter analysis, trying to understand the story of this election. Again, no winner has been called, but as we try to figure out what were the groups that shifted one way or the other, I'm still fascinated by some of these trends. You know, we have looked at the data, and you can see that in some of these precincts across the country where there are particularly large Latino populations, Donald Trump's numbers went way, way up. Clearly, that has paved an interesting path forward for the GOP. But at the same time, Democrats, and particularly Joe Biden, expanding his lead with moderate and independent voters compared to what Hillary Clinton did 4 years ago. So we're watching both of the parties' coalitions change in real time as these election results continue to come in.
If you could finish off with Nevada for us, knowing that this state has not been called yet and could make all the difference. 11,400 votes makes the difference there, with Joe Biden leading by almost a full percentage point in that state. Obviously, some of the key counties that we watched in favor of Donald Trump, Elko County, a solid 76% of the vote there. But what are we watching here? I mean, there's the magic as to why our election desk hasn't called this state yet, but there's a pretty decisive lead by Joe Biden in that state at this hour.
Yeah, and I think at the moment, part of the reason why you're seeing Biden perhaps favored, though the race is not called yet, is because of Clark County. That's where you've got Las Vegas, huge Democratic stronghold again. And I believe that's where we're going to be looking to see how those votes come in the end.
All right, Kristen, thank you.